So in the last lesson, we talked about run command feature. So in this lesson, we'll talk about a feature called as an admin center. So there is a feature called as a Windows Admin Center on the Azure Virtual Machine. As being a system administrator on a daily basis, so we perform a lot of activities and we frequently interact with the server manager. So where we install the server roles, okay, uninstall server roles or configure DHCP service or DNS service, create DNS records, or interact with an IIS web server or some kind of an application, service management services like an RDP settings, Windows firewall settings, then power settings. Okay, like one of the other things, maybe at regular intervals of time, I would say we'll be keep interacting with the Windows operating system. So in order to perform those activities, we log into the uh, Windows VM either through a remote desktop protocol or some other using a third-party management tools, and we perform the administration activities. But now Azure came up with a feature called as an admin center. Now this feature enables us to perform all these server management activities from the Azure portal itself. So we don't need to log into the Azure Virtual Machine. So we can, being in the Azure portal, we can perform all these kind of activities like installing a role or configuring the role or checking the operating system settings, changing the operating systems like a Windows update settings or disabling a specific service or enable a specific service or a start service or restart a service or device management like you have an hardware configuration settings, then creating a local user accounts or deleting a local user accounts or disabling it, like in file shares or environment variable settings. Then typically we see power settings, a lot of other things what we do it on a daily basis on the a control panel or in a server manager we can perform through this admin center. So in order to perform have this one, so on a Azure, so if there is an Azure virtual machine, so inside this Azure Virtual Machine, we need to install a small an agent which we called as an admin center agent. So, so that will be installed on the Azure Virtual Machine and which runs on a port number called as a 6516. So if this virtual machine is having a public IP, so from the Azure portal, we can perform all the administration activities, okay, as long as we are able to reach this port number from the network from anywhere. If this virtual machine doesn't have any public IP, but it is reachable over the network in a private network, as long as there is a port allowed 6516, we can do that. So we need to ensure that from a network security group on the Azure side, and as well as on the inside of Windows Virtual Machine Windows Firewall, we need to ensure that there is a 6516 port is allowed. So as this port is allowed, then we'll be able to connect and perform all the administration tasks, okay, without logging into an Azure virtual machine. And second thing is the user should have a role called as an admin role. The good thing is the user, whoever is performing the administration activities, he need not to have permissions on the Azure or the OS, Azure VM OS. As long as he has a permissions on the Azure portal, on the Azure virtual machine as a role called as admin center role, then he will be able to perform it. Okay. So as we see here, so I have this virtual machine and I see a feature called as an Windows Admin Center. So in the Windows Center, we see that seamless OS management, modern OS tools, and increased control. We can see inbound port install and enable these ports so that it enable the necessary ports and install it. So it will install an agent which we call it as an extension, and it'll try to create the ports in the NSC and as well as Windows Firewall. So we'll see that outbound port. Let's wait for Right. So we have the agent installed. Now, when we click on Windows Admin Center, it says we can see the screen got changed. Provides a free set of best-in-class listings, IP address, public IP. And as of now, so the connect feature is disabled. The reason isn't we see Windows Admin Center administrator login role is not assigned. So for me, I don't have a permissions on this VM. So I see the VM is having a public IP. I installed an agent, but still I'm not able to connect because I don't have privileges. So go to the access control management, go to the roles, add role assignment, search for Windows Admin Center login or and select the user. So I'm selecting this user. Now I've assigned the permissions as a Windows Admin Center login role on this VM. So now go to the Windows Admin Center, refresh it. Maybe let me go back and let me reopen the virtual machine so that the due permissions is able to read it. Go to the admin center. Yeah, still it is saying that. Let me refresh the entire screen. Yeah, we have the permissions. Yeah. So now we are getting an option called as a connect. If the VM is having a public IP, then we can connect from the public IP as long as 65164 port is allowed. If there is no public IP, then we have a public private IP address as long as you are able to reach from the machine where you accessing the portal, you can do that. So I'm trying to connect to the public IP, connect it. Now we would see we are connected to the admin center and it gives exactly like your server manager kind of an screen and information as we would see in our overview. What is the computer name? Is it part of a domain or a work group and what operating system it is running? What is the free space in your C drive, the capacity of RAM and your version, the number of processors allocated and next available model, all kind of a typical like an a system information is being provided here. And you can do that. Go to the settings. You'll be able to see file shares, environment variables, then power configurations. We would see high performance, whatever the plan which you want it, you can save it. You can manage your remote desktop settings. Okay, so we can see allow remote connections to the computer. If you want to disable it or enable it, you can do from here. And if you want to manage the certificates, okay, you can be able to see that. You can click on devices. You'll be able to see the list of devices. Your device manager is here and your event logger. So the event log, you can check the logs. So this all you can perform without logging into the Azure Virtual Machine itself. So whatever file sharing, and you can interact with the Windows firewall, and you can create a Windows rules, disable rules. You can perform all these things And you can see the installed apps. Edge and Admin Center has been installed. If you want to remove something, you can click on select it, and if you have part of this thing. So local users, you'll be able to see which are all the user accounts got created. And if you want to create a new user, you can create a new user. Or if you want to manage your groups, you can manage your groups. So this is that where we don't need to log into this machine to perform. As long as you are there in the Azure portal with the necessary permissions and admin center installed, we can perform all the necessary activities. We can see this one. Then like performance monitoring, you'll be able to, okay. And you can run a PowerShell, and you can manage the Windows desktop. You can connect to the RDP, and you can see roles and features. So if you want to install some role, so you can select it and you can click on install. Okay, whatever you want to have it, then we can do it. So this provides like uh, an a server manager over the an Azure portal. So this is a very good feature available on Azure virtual machines because it saves a lot of time. Okay, from the single portal itself, we can manage virtual machines and perform administration activities without the need of logging into the Azure virtual machines. So this is how we can use the Windows Admin Center